Jason,
Danny,
how you doing, my friend? You seem happier today.
I feel good. I've got stuff done.
That's it. You were just really sad
I
about not
figured
getting
out
work.
the secret to
There you go.
productivity.
So I got my boy back.
I'm here. I'm present.
Yeah, boy.
I'm present and ready to rock. It's been months.
It's nice to have you back because that was a ropey few months there.
Man, it was just months of trying to figure it out. How do I do work? And it turns out the secret, I've got it. You just go to your desk, you sit down, and you just get stuff done.
Fancy that, eh?
Right?
I mean,
So after having a kid, like the world just went.
you don't need to tell me, mate. Done it 3 times.
Oh, I don't know. Like we had Coda last week. It was great to kind of go away and hear from a bunch of people. And then I got back and I was like, right, okay, I've got a load of stuff to do. And I was on ChatGPT and I was just using my therapist as I like to use them and just kind of like talking things through. And they gave me little plans and kind of how to do things in increments. And it's always just about moving that needle. And like I've just got so much stuff done in the last week.
Good old Godfrey, eh?
Right? So yeah, I'm feeling really good about things. And I hope it continues because like I feel, although it seems like a really quick transformation, but if I can carry on going like this and just getting stuff done all the time, then it'll be good. Obviously, the way the last few months have gone is that there's just constant interruptions and stuff, and I've just not been able to capitalize on the downtime when I should be working.
Yeah.
So
yeah, listen, it's tough, you know. I mean, and we, you know, we've not had to give birth to the baby either as well, you know. So I don't actually know like how. People, like that have just had babies and stuff like that, like Becky and stuff like that, that's just having, or, you get Heather or from Fine Films, or
who filmed her first wedding after giving birth 6 weeks after giving, she just filmed her first wedding.
I know.
So kudos to you, Heather.
Yeah, like that, but that's tough as well, because it's such a major life change, and just having this new wee baby about that needs you all the time, and then juggling work in the midst of it, like it's so tough. When things like this happen, and I guess it's times like this when being self-employed is not ideal. Do you know what I mean? Because like if you were working at a company or whatever, you'd have your mat leave and you don't have to worry about it because somebody else is picking up your work, and then you go back after 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not easy. So a big shout out to all of you out there if you've had a baby recently or like any major life disruptions. We are right here with you and we feel the pain.
Yeah, but it's just like a mindset thing. Like obviously I've still got a mountain of work to do, but I think that was the problem. Like starting that climb of getting the stuff done. Yeah. Like, how do I practically do that and feel good about the work that I've done that day to go on to tomorrow, knowing I'm going to carry on doing work? Like now that obviously weddings are dying down, I can feel okay. I can now start making moves at getting that done. And I think
it's like standing at the bottom of the mountain though, isn't it? And going, shit.
Yeah. But I've calculated how many working days I've got. I've calculated all the things that I'm doing until the 23rd of December when I've got that imaginary deadline for myself to kind of get the majority of stuff done. And it feels very achievable. That deadline is horrible. We shouldn't really do it to ourselves. But it's there.
But it's because we know what happens, because you just start to get, and I know what will happen in the next 2 weeks or so. I think we'll probably all start to get emails going, oh, I just wondering, I mean, I've had one already.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I just said to them, I was like, I'll be honest, like you are on the cusp of like potentially being before Christmas or being after, like, so I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to not guarantee dates. Just leave me an open deadline till Christmas, and I'll figure it out. Like that's kind of the point, because you can't. Like I did it like 2 weeks ago, where I told a couple, look, you'll get it by Saturday, and it was Monday at that point. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, things came up unexpectedly, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I've got Friday to finish this entire thing, and yeah, it's just not healthy to do that. So try and be not as. You want to be specific, but you need to be vague with it and just say, hey, I'm almost there. It is very much the present of my mind if you are working on something that is due to be due soon. But that Christmas deadline is always going to be a kicker. But as long as you've got a plan, then things should be going. But as it stands right now, I've had a really good week. I feel good about things going forward, and I feel healthier for that.
You certainly look happier.
Yeah, feel it.
That makes me happier.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Because you have a purpose now. But speaking of purpose,
Goddamn, Daddy.
we have another guest on this week, which the purpose chat will make sense shortly about what our guest will be talking about. But say hello to Shannon from the Lynskeys, previously known as Forever Curious. Hey Shannon, how you doing?
Hello. How are you both doing?
We are good. I mean, he's much better. By proxy, that makes me better because I need to co-parent him almost.
I've been bringing him down for months.
It's been so sad. He's been so sad.
I was just so tired.
And I'm just looking at him thinking, you have one child. Just wake up. God damn it. But it kicks you right in the nads. So, and it's such a change to your previous schedule and all that. But it's good to see that you're back. So by default, we are back. But yeah, it's so nice to have you on, Shannon. Obviously, you and Jack are going to be speaking at our That Wedding Videographer Summit in the end of March next year, which we are super excited about.
Can't wait.
But we thought we'd get you on to talk about something, I guess, that we actually seen you'd posted a little reel about it today, almost, just about. It was a nice wee segue into, I guess, like this podcast. And yeah, it's just, I think it's something, the topic that we're going to talk about today, it's something that I guess like a lot of people struggle with, myself included. Jace we've talked about it off air, but he's the same. I think about a really good, just reminder to people just about, what is their purpose, So yeah, excited to have you on. But
Yeah, super excited.
for people that maybe don't know who you and Jack, your husband, who you are, can you maybe give a little bit of a intro to you guys, what you do, how long you've been doing it?
Of course. So hello, thank you for having me on firstly. So yeah, I'm Shannon. I'm married to Jack. We were originally we were actually called Walsh Films, which was my maiden name. That was like way back in the day.
Wow.
Then we rebranded in 2021 to Forever Curious, which people will probably know us more for.
Yeah.
And then very recently, literally 4 weeks ago, we decided to rebrand again, and we've become the Lynskeys, which is Jack's name and now my name because we have got married.
Oh.
How long have we been doing this? So we technically started in 2019. We started just doing like a few weddings, trying it out, testing the waters, trying to see if this is something we wanted to do. And then, we had a little pause during 2020. Don't know why, just a little one. And obviously, for us, it was actually an incredible opportunity to scale the business beyond what we probably would have done anyway, just to really figure out how we could do this properly. Learned loads, did loads of courses, loads of self-development courses and things like that, which then is what caused our rebrand to Forever Curious in 2021. So yeah, we've been doing this for about 5 years now. Enjoying the journey so far.
That's incredible as well, because like the quality of like work that the two of you put out is just, it's insane. I think for a little bit of context about how I guess like Jace and I found out about you guys was we were on, so Ben Journey, who's the host of the Make Better Wedding Films podcast, he had like, it was like an editing kind of like course.
Yeah, a little editing
was it last January?
It was this year.
Was it? Oh, it was this January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so earlier this year. And we went on it. It was great. There was like a stellar lineup on there. I think you had, Hello Tomorrow,
Bottle Brush.
Was Matt on it?
Matt was on it.
Matt was on it. Yeah. And obviously, and you guys. And it was each like there was just different, I guess, people talking about their different kind of different subject matter experts on. And your guys' thing that you're really known for is like your sound design and your sound, because they're like so immersive. And I remember Jason and I were just watching what was unfolding as part of the course, and I think my mouth was open for the whole time, because I was just like, oh my god, like this is like incredible, because just the way that I guess Jack's forte is sound and stuff, and because I think that's his background, isn't it? He was he at the BBC? Is that what he was at?
Everything.
Yeah.
BBC, Sky, Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, and we were totally taken aback by like the quality of your work, and I guess that's like very, very impressive, because I didn't actually realise that you'd been going since 2019 as well. So that's mad.
So obviously Jack was into sound before, but what was your background before you dived into weddings?
Yeah, so my journey is similar and very different. So I've been a cinema obsessed fan ever since I was like a child. I was like brought up with my dad being obsessed with movies, so we watched like 3 or 4 brand new movies every single week. I was like just completely immersed since I was little. So I always knew I wanted to do film, so I studied it at uni. And then straight out of uni, got into like the short film scene. I went to uni in Cardiff, so I was in like the short film scene in Cardiff for a while, and then ended up working for ITV. For anyone who knows the soaps, I worked a little bit on Corrie, but mostly on Emmerdale. Had a couple of little jobs doing like little dramas and stuff, like Victoria for ITV. Hollyoaks as well. I always forget Hollyoaks. Yeah. They were good fun. They were really good fun. But I was an assistant director.
Yeah.
So that was my jam. It was more like people focused, I guess. And I kind of worked my way up as a runner, and then became a third assistant director, working with all the extras and getting people in and out of costume and that kind of thing, and just making sure everything was running on time.
I always wonder if that'd be like frustrating for someone who's had so much control of a set. To go into a wedding where, you know, people turn up drunk, they they're unprofessional, they don't listen to you. I can always imagine like that's one extreme to another. Like if a weddings were like a set,
getting a twitch.
All right, and just run up the aisle again. Okay, let's do the aisle walk again. Let's go. Just like what?
Okay, one more time.
It's definitely been, to be fair, I think it's been good and bad for me and Jack to have come from production, like a TV production background, because like I was the person who like shouted at everyone if they were being noisy. So I remember there was actually one day where Jack was also working on Emmerdale, and we were on the same set. And everyone found out that we were dating. So we were trying to keep it on the lowdown. And obviously I was like the AD on the day. Jack was there as the boom up. And the sound team, ironically, are known for being the chattiest of the lot on production TV sets.
Really?
So it was always my job to go and tell them off.
Yeah. And
we were about to start, and like the first AD, was like, okay, and we were ready, and I suddenly just looked over at Jack, and I was just like, quiet on set, and then everyone just went dead silent, and then we did the take, and everyone was like, ooh, he's gonna be in trouble. So it was so strange for us to kind of come from kind of like a disciplined set, and a very, also like a crew, to have so many people doing so many different jobs. For sound, especially for Jack, it was like a 3-man team on the day, just focused on sound. Then the ADs, it was a 3-man team, or sometimes a lot more. So then coming into weddings, and it suddenly just being me and Jack doing everything, I guess it was a bit of a culture shock to just suddenly be like, wow, we really need to be thinking about everything here. Especially then going into the edit as well, and doing all of that. So we had our experience, and we've done short films. We weren't completely new to it at all, but it's very different.
Yeah, I can imagine what it'd be like going reverse, and someone who's solely done weddings, never necessarily worked in a crew. Like, right, what else can I do? I don't just want one job today. I want to do the job of like 5 people, because you're at a wedding day. You are in charge of so much stuff. It must be you must be so efficient to go into it.
Oh, like I think how like when you go for like a job interview, and you've got like how it's like competency based questions. Like I feel like doing this, you would have answers to all competency based questions. Like if this ever didn't work out, I feel like I'd nail an interview, no bother.
I'm ready. Come at me.
Come at anything.
Anything you got.
Anything you've got is going to be able to be answered, because I will have done something in this job, because it's so multifaceted. There's we wear so many different hats all at the same time. I mean, the multitasking thing is just like, if there's a competency-based question on multitasking or like managing different priorities, I'm your man.
Tell us about a time when you thrived under pressure, Mr. Rizzo.
Well, buckle up, because I'm going to be here a while. But it's so true, and I think I think coming from, if me personally, if I came from like that kind of background of, you know, everybody's got different roles, and you've got the sound guy and the lighting guy and obviously and everything, and coming into that, and I'd be like, man, I just want the team back. Bring back the A-team.
I know.
Yeah,
so
to be fair, we have kind of thought that, like, when we came into the industry, we knew that a lot of people were solo shooters, and like, hats off to all of you solo shooters, because I think for us, like, coming from a big crew to becoming a 2-man team was enough, without then having to do everything ourselves. But yeah, I think it's been really good for us to also have that experience, because I think we do sometimes come into wedding days slightly differently. Like when we still do, to be fair, before we come to wedding day, like I'll write a full call sheet like I would do for like a TV set. So it's like, I try to bring as much of what I know into practice. Yeah. And then it all falls apart, you know, within about an hour of being at the wedding day, because, you know, someone's crying or someone's not getting into a dress. And like you said, you've got so many hats. Like for me, I always feel like sometimes you can end up being a therapist as well. Like you're trying to like calm parents down, or you're trying to calm planners down. And
therapist, waiter, you know. Dress fixer upper.
So
The only time you're a director and a runner at the same time on a set, it's like.
But I guess that's good though, because like you've both got, I guess you've got different skill sets, the two of yous, and you'll complement each other very well. You like a power couple when it comes to like wedding films, I guess, because you can just bring those skill sets together, and then ultimately what you create is because of what each of you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, it's your experience has definitely set you up very, very well, evidently, for you to be doing as well as you are, you know, in ultimately such a short space of time.
Have you seen Lumix have just announced another new camera, the S12?
Well, you know I have.
This camera is chock full of features that wedding videographers like you are going to love, including 5.1K open gate at 50 frames a second for the first time.
Incredible slow-mo footage at 100 frames a second in 4K.
Best in class image stabilization.
And also a new and improved hybrid phase detect autofocus.
You can get your hands on this camera by loaning it for up to 48 hours. Just visit the Lumix store.
And if you do decide that this is the camera for you, remember to use code TWVP at the Lumix store for 10% off. That's right, 10% off this brand new camera that we believe is the perfect camera for wedding filmmakers. You obviously rebranded recently, again for the second time, which we didn't realise. So what inspired that change for you to go? Because, you know, I think from us looking in, like, I'll be honest, loved the name, if you're forever curious, loved the branding. I think did you not recently have your website redone as well for Forever Curious? So you'd had that. So you obviously weren't happy with something.
Yeah, because it looked like a brand on the rise that when we were looking, if you look into it. So like to go for another rebrand, something
is ballsy.
And costly.
Not only
and costly,
well, I was about to say not only just ballsy, but you know, very, very costly as well. Because then it's like, we're not going to go ahead with that anymore. But thanks. But so what inspired that change? Because you now also you're offering photo and video as well, aren't you?
Controversial, I know.
Very.
Yes. So. Where do I start? I think we get very, I think just as a people, as a community now, we're getting very tied up in seeing for face value how a business is doing online. And you kind of just see the successes and you see how well they're doing. But, you know, so much is going on in your personal life. It's like what you were talking about at the start of the podcast. You know, you've had children, and your personal life is kind of taking over, and you might look differently on your business, on the outside, on social media. And I think for me and Jack, we were going through a very turbulent space of really losing meaning in what we were doing within the business. So basically, just to give you a bit of background, the reason why we actually decided to do wedding videography was a really big thing that happened in our personal life. I suffered like a freak spinal injury. And this is when I was in the TV industry, and I ended up wheelchair bound. It took me about 18 months to get out of the wheelchair. I was on a lot of medication and going through a lot of recovery in the hospital. And I was basically told, like, you might not recover, you know, you might be on meds the rest of your life. And Jack became pretty much my full-time carer. And it was in that time where, obviously, as a couple, we got incredibly strong. And we wanted to build something for ourselves. We wanted to build a life for ourselves that had meaning, that gave me freedom that I wasn't finding in my life, but also some control, like a level of control over the working hours, the types of jobs that we were taking. And somehow in all of that, find creative fulfillment and still do something that we loved. So we had a lot of conversations about this, and we had a lot of time to talk it over. And in that time, we went, right, we're going to have a production company. We don't know how we're going to make this work. I'm on a walking cane. You know, I'm walking with a cane. I'm on meds, but Jack's completely healthy. Like, he'll take on all of the production stuff, and I'll take over the business side. So we started that out, and that's when Jack proposed. So we got engaged, and suddenly we got flung into the wedding film world. We had no idea that wedding films could be so remarkable, so extraordinary, and that you could have such an incredible career in this industry. And we went, let's do that. We'll just do that. That looks great. We'll do this. Don't know how I'm going to do this, but we'll figure it out along the way. So we started doing the weddings there. So we had a really, really strong reason for why we started in this industry. Like, our why, our purpose, our mission to actually be in this industry was like massive. And it gave us so much focus because we were able to create this extraordinary life for ourselves and do something that we absolutely loved doing as well, which was being creative and slowly learning how to work with each other, which we realized we loved. And, you know, we really worked well off each other. We complemented each other in our strengths and weaknesses. So that's kind of our starting point. So fast forward to 2 years ago, and we finally got married, and we decided to elope. And we had a lot of reasons to elope, and we had a lot of issues and a lot of pushback. And it was honestly the best day of my life. I know everyone says that about their wedding days, but for me, it felt very transformational. It felt very sacred. It felt so intimate, and me and Jack connected beyond just being like business partners and girlfriend and boyfriend. Like, we really felt like we had this moment of kind of crossing over into our next chapter and becoming the Lynskeys in our personal lives. So when we got back from our elopement, we went straight back into 200, 300 guest luxury events. For those of you who don't know, we are like Forever Curious was like a luxury wedding videography company. So we were getting hurtled back into this world of really high-end events, you know, events with 5 or 6 different bands and all these moving pieces and all of these guests and all of this kind of opulence. And it started to hit us that this job's amazing, but we weren't fitting in. There was just something that was feeling unaligned between the job that we were doing and the service we were providing for these types of clients and who we were in real life. So we that happened about 2 years ago. And we took a year to sort of figure out what we wanted to do with it, which is what turned into our like change of our website and kind of rebrand last year without changing our name. And in all honesty, we kind of lost our courage a little bit when we put out the new rebrand. we thought that changing our colors and changing our fonts and trying to have a bit more of an edge and trying to be a bit more polished would somehow help. And it still fell flat for us, like on a just personal level. We still weren't feeling fulfilled, and we still didn't feel like we were comfortable selling what we wanted to actually offer the world. It still felt icky and sticky, and we still felt in a creative rut. So yeah, this year, 2025, has kind of been our year for really getting honest with ourselves and really going, we need to start finding some meaning. We need to start building some reasons again. We need to get back to where we were basically in like 2019, 2020, when we were so fired up and so motivated to like build something. Because with that purpose, we were so purpose driven that we succeeded so fast. Like we were overwhelmed with the success that we had. We went from filming in a barn to being booked for the King's Palace here at Hampton Court Palace, and our brains were just like, what is going on? Like we just got pulled on this crazy journey. And I really truly believe it was because we had incredibly strong reasons, and we were driven by more than just wanting to make money or look successful on the outside. We were driven from something deeper. So that's why we've changed our name and rebranded again in the last 4 weeks, because we've found new reasons. We've found like a new mission within what we're wanting to do moving forward. And just changing our colors and changing our font didn't feel strong enough. We wanted to really break ties to a certain extent with Forever Curious, to have a fresh start, because we felt like we didn't fit in with what we'd built. So we wanted to build something new.
I think I remember, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to a moment in their business when they had more purpose to what they maybe have now. And I know especially when I went from the fancy Afterglow in 2019, obviously it was a bit COVID, 2019 was still kind of fancy, glittery Afterglow. And it was like, not me. And I kind of, when I not launched the business, I had a bit, I was driven to sort of get it going, but it never really connected until that whole, okay, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to serve. And then I launched that into the world at the beginning of 2022. And then it was there. Everything just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And again, like I know I feel differently now to how I did in 2022. Not sure if it's because I need to, potentially it's about maybe, okay, I've evolved and I've kind of matured and I'm maybe looking for something different, but like the purpose is definitely not the same for me now as it was at the beginning, because that's who I definitely want to serve. And maybe that's changed over time. So I think a lot of people can hear that and maybe go, hey, you know what, actually this is something I'm going, and I maybe something isn't clicking for me and I'm not actually sure what it is. And maybe this is kind of something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a brave decision though. Like, because you certainly from the outside, you were flying, as you said, you were getting booked for all these incredible events. And I guess it takes quite a lot of courage to go, nah, do you know what? Like, this is great, but it's just not for us. And I'm not sure many people would have the courage to just go, okay, let's just switch it up, because I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I guess because it's such a hard. Must have been quite a hard decision, I guess, in some ways. In other ways, not. But like, because this thing that you've built, it's successful, in terms of, from what can be deemed a success. But for you guys, it wasn't a success, and it was you were looking for something more with more meaning, so you made it happen. So yeah, kudos.
I can imagine there's like, you're weighing up all the pros and cons when it comes to something like this, because obviously building up a brand, people knowing you, that's work is easy to find yourself, and if obviously this is your only source of income, I'm guessing, like, so to put that on, essentially, once you find your purpose again, that you can drive the results the way that you wanted to. But again, like if I was to relate to myself, like if I was to change Afterglow to like Jason Hunter or something like that, there would be a massive risk there.
Beauty Hunter Films.
Yeah, there'd be a risk, but obviously,
but I mean, there's different things. I mean, I guess just to to I guess call out probably the obvious, but there's decisions that I guess I'm sure went in the background with you guys in terms of preparing for this. So I would imagine that you're gonna have to make sure that there's enough money in the bank in case there's like this kind of like crossover period where maybe like things you're maybe not quite as busy with the new brand as you were with the old brand. So there's going to be different decisions that go in there, and it's not obviously just done on a whim, and some planning which I'm sure took place from your guys' end. But yeah, it's still it's a very bold decision, but commendable for you guys to make sure that you you feel content, I guess, within yourselves with the work that you're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, obviously, from the outside, it looks like a crazy risk, and I think anyone who starts to get to know us, we don't do things by halves. It's kind of our thing. We've always done things a bit crazy, and we drive our parents absolutely insane with it. Like in 2022, like our business really picked up. So we literally started 2022. We'd done, I think, 10 weddings in 2021. And we got to April of 2022 and we had 5 bookings for 2022. And we were like, this isn't working. What are we going to do? And everyone was like, you need to get normal jobs. And we were like, never. And then just I think this is what I'm trying to this is why I'm so excited about like talking about this stuff is the purpose that was driving us never let us give up. And by the end of April of 2022, we'd fully booked out our year. We had inquiries flying in. It was absolutely insane. And we literally took in, what would it have been? Like 23 bookings in 1 month in the April of 2022. We had bookings.
Let's break this down, okay? Because that's phenomenal, right? Because I was going to make sure that I heard you right when you said when you got to April you had 5 bookings for the year, and then you said you finished April and you had 23. You're fully booked for the year. So, okay, let's just go back to April 2022 because that sounds great. Like, so what's the story?
What happened there? What happened there for you to get so many in 1 month?
I mean, in all honesty, I would say it was the work we were doing on the lead up to that month. Right. It was like, when people talk about businesses having spring, summers, autumns, and winters. Yeah. I feel like, we were in that point where we were in the winter really driving all of the work that we were doing. And then bam, everything started picking up. So it was like, so for example, I would say one of our biggest things that made us sort of succeed, it was network. Mm-hmm. Because obviously during COVID, it was really hard to network in person. Yeah. But I put myself in a lot of business groups. I joined business memberships. I didn't do things within the wedding industry. Like I became obsessed with wanting to just be better, learning from people that weren't within the industry. I got it in my head that I needed to learn from people who were doing other things because I would get new things. So I learned from like a branding coach that didn't do brands for weddings. I learned from a business coach that was actually used to be a wedding planner, but ended up going into business coaching. I put myself into all of these groups and I started getting like super cheeky. So I would see if there was an opportunity and I would just DM them and be like, oh, I've seen that you're doing a shoot that's completely unrelated to weddings, but we're videographers. Can we just come along? And like, if you don't like what we do, you don't have to use it. I was just networking like crazy for probably a good like 6 months leading up to April. And it was in these business groups, I found the network of the wedding planners that we ended up working with. Mm. It wasn't through Instagram. It wasn't through, being with other wedding industry professionals and sitting with groups of wedding videographers. It was actually being in the business groups where these planners were.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was one of our biggest things that helped, because basically once we did one wedding with one of the planners from this group, we were in the circle. And so the emails that came through were, we've heard about you from. So has told us we have to book you. It became a referral phrase that happened to us in 2022. But it's because, Jack always says I'm crazy now. He'd be like, you can't send that DM. I'm like, I'm sending it.
Send it.
And the next minute, someone says yes, and I'm like, and I always say to people, like, when you're worried about taking risks, what's the worst thing that can happen? Especially when it's just like a message.
Yeah, exactly.
The worst thing they can say is no.
Shy kids get no sweeties, you know. So
this is it. Like my grandma, I have one of my side of my family is from Burma. And we had a grandma that always said, don't ask, don't get.
Yeah.
Don't ask, don't get. It was just like, that's just become our thing. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. You're not going to know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And, you know, and like you said, with risk and things like that, I think for us, yeah, you know, it was working. But how long do you want to live an average life? If you feel like you're living an average life, if you feel like you're getting an average amount of fulfillment from this and an average amount of fulfillment from that, an average, you know, amount of money coming into your bank, but you feel like you could have more, how long are you willing to risk being average and having an average life? Because for us, that was a bigger risk than doing something about it and changing it up. It's like you have your entire life to live. And the decisions that you make now are going to affect you when you're older. So you don't want to be looking back in 20 years' time and saying to yourself, gosh, if only I had just decided to not do luxury weddings and do smaller ones instead.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be such a tiny thing in your head in 20 years down, 20 years down the road. So the risk of not doing something is far greater than risking trying something. And, you know, one of my favorite things that Matthew McConaughey says, I'm a big fan of Matthew McConaughey, is he says, try it and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's not only for fulfillment in terms of like, you know, financial or health, like job satisfaction is a big thing. And, you know, we've all built these businesses to give us the kind of freedom in life. Freedom sometimes it's questionable, but it's fulfilling to have a business for yourself. But then if you find the work you're doing not satisfying that creative side, or you're not working with the people that you want to have a stronger connection with your clients, you know, that it is sometimes time to look inward and go, okay, what is it we're trying to achieve with this business?
Yeah, what's my mission?
And I think obviously with the Lynskeys now, you've now got a different direction. You identified there was a different direction you wanted to go. So how did you come to the decision to find the type of client you want to work for now, the kind of business going forward? Like, tell us more about the Lynskeys compared to your previous business.
Yeah. So I guess the way that I can kind of explain this is I kind of built this theory of having a mission. I began by calling it a purpose, but I actually really like the word mission. I feel like mission has a lot more drive to it. Like purpose, I feel like is a very loaded word at the moment, and it feels very big and very scary. Whereas I feel like mission is this like driving word that gives you targets. It you know, it gives you a road to go on. It gives you something. It gives you aims and targets and like a focus. So for us, we were like, okay, we're not getting a lot of meaning out of what we're doing. Because we're not getting meaning out of what we're doing, we are really struggling to sell. Like we're struggling to sell ourselves. We're struggling to know what our messaging is here. We're struggling with couples on calls because we don't have this really strong belief in what it is we're actually offering these people. So the way that we wanted to go about figuring out, okay, well, what kind of clients do we want to work with and what kind of business do we want to have, is we got into the pattern of asking ourselves, how do we want to feel? So this is a great question to just do with your life anyway, but let's just talk about this from a business perspective. How do you want your business to feel in the future? And how does that compare to how it feels now? So for example, for us, we wanted to feel unrushed. We wanted to feel at peace. We wanted to feel in creative flow. We wanted to be out in nature. We wanted to feel like we were having adventures with our jobs. And then in comparison to what we were doing being luxury wedding videographers, we were rushed, constantly challenged. You know, we were very rarely outside. We were always inside. And it was chaotic, and it was panic inducing for me. You know, I was actually starting to really suffer with panic attacks, which I'd never had before. And I know from talking to other vendors, like panic attacks are a real big problem in the wedding industry, especially at the moment. So we were kind of able to say, okay, well, if this is how we want to feel, you know, at peace, feeling adventurous, feeling like we have this relaxed inflow business, what kind of clients and what kind of work, projects, weddings, elopements are going to actually open us up to have a business that feels that way? And that was our first kind of lighthouse, like our first guiding moment to go, okay, well, we need our weddings to be a lot slower paced for a start. Maybe there's not as many guests. And then we started like looking inward of when have we felt like this in our personal life? And for us, it was on our elopement day. You know, we really felt at peace on our elopement day. There was no crazy, chaotic moments. It was just peaceful, and it felt really sacred, and we felt really connected with each other. So then once we'd kind of connected the dots of like how we wanted things to feel, how we've felt in the past, even with work that we've done, you know, we've done elopements in the past and they were a completely different feeling to other jobs that we'd done. Once we'd kind of nailed that down, we also thought a lot about our own elopement and how our photographer and how our videographer kind of primed us for the day. They took a few days out with us on the lead up to the elopement, and we had the most incredible experiences with them. So our photographer was Joy Zamora, and our videographer was Lou, a filmmaker, and he was working with his girlfriend Mika. And they gave us these incredible experiences, these really peaceful, sacred experiences on the lead up to the day. So then by the time we were actually eloping, we were completely primed, like we were completely into each other. There was nothing else happening in the world other than just the two of us and what we were doing. And it made it transformed what the day could have been for us. We really, truly believe that they made the day this extraordinary experience, and one that we'll cherish forever. And the more we talked about it, we were like, oh, I just want to do that for other couples. I just want to do that for other people. Like, oh my gosh, imagine being able to do that for others. And that's when your heart starts to feel full. You know, it's like, that's when you get the rise instead of the sinking feeling. You know, I'm rising up. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so amazing if we can do this for people and have this feeling and we can feel at peace. And this excitement kind of built up. And we were like, bam, that's what we want the business to feel like. That's what our life can feel like. And also, now I have something I really, really want to offer the world. I really want to offer this to my couples. I want them to experience this. So we built this up to become the Lynskeys instead of where we were, which was burnt out, struggling to know how to sell ourselves on calls, having like a lack of relatability with our clients, to realizing, gosh, we could have so much relatability with our clients. So yeah, like that's kind of the process that we went through and where we are now.
Yeah, that's it's quite funny, like, because we hear from like some people where they actually first got into like wedding photography or wedding videography like after their wedding kind of thing, and then you know, successful wedding videographers, you have your elopement and you're like, yes, this is what we're meant to do. Like this is it. And how that one experience then just shifts your whole business and your whole business model.
Yeah. It gives you focus, right? I think that's why I like calling it a mission. It's like it gives you this target to be like, I am on a mission now to make sure that as many couples experience what I experienced. And I want to give that. And it's also why we've moved into photography. Like, I know you brought that up earlier, and it's a very, very controversial subject for a photographer to do videography and for a videographer to do photography. But for me, it was actually a part of myself I was rejecting. I've always been a photographer. It's something that I've enjoyed for a very long time. And also, I don't know if it's a secret, but me and Jack actually started off doing photo and film. That's where we started at the very beginning of all of this, and we let the photography go because I didn't have the confidence. I just didn't have the confidence in myself. But after doing this for 5 years and being in some of the most challenging jobs I've ever experienced, my brain's like, I can handle anything now. Like, I can do this. And again, it's the same with the mission thing. It's like, well, you've got to start being honest with yourself and you've got to stop letting the outside noise take over. There is so much pressure on this industry to do one thing, choose one thing. You can't be one or the other. I think it's really strange. I think it's a really strange part of our industry that we're not allowed to like grow and expand without there being controversy. And for me, photography was just, it's my other passion. I love filmmaking. I love photography. I feel like there's a lot you can do with photography that you can't do with video and vice versa. So again, it was a natural evolution for us to also heighten the experience and the mission that we were giving. For us to do photo and film heightened our mission on what we were wanting to give our couples.
It's interesting. Like, there's a lot to be said about, what drives you to go and convince a couple to book you. And I think you look at a bunch of websites and they'll say that we're really passionate about joining you and capturing all the cherished moments and stuff. And it feels very generic. And of course, that's not why any of us do it. At the forefront, a lot of people, maybe it's financial. Maybe that's why they get into it. It's a good job.
Seen that on a website.
I know, right? Yeah.
Why did you get into it? I like the money.
But you know what I mean? Like, so, like, there's that. Obviously, some people like the kind of time they get to have a home. Some people genuinely like the connection that they have with the couples. But I think if you do ask yourself, like, why is it that you want to do the weddings that you want to do? And rather than just casting a net over and seeing if anyone books you, you'll get so much more satisfaction over doing the things that you want to do. Like for me, I wanted to go to high energetic weddings. I wanted to, wanted people who didn't really care about the details. They just wanted the people to have a good time and enjoy that. That gives me I leave a wedding after being at a wedding like that with so much happiness, like over a wedding that focused on something else. And my branding and kind of my purpose sort of drove me towards that. And I think when you always got to think back to what makes you happy, or what your inspiration behind that business was. And of course, you thought your wedding day. And I think if people do look inwards and go, like, what makes me happy? What do I want to do? And then if you figure that out, have the confidence to go out there and get it, because I guarantee it'll be way more fulfilling if you do.
Yeah,
absolutely. And also, it at the end of the day, we're doing this to film other people's weddings. So if you're not finding that enjoyment and that fulfillment in what you're doing, like, what kind of service are you actually providing your couples? If you turn up on the day and you are excited and you're there, you're in that like prime state and you're just excited for them and you're excited for yourself and you can't wait for the day that's coming, that's a completely different experience. That's a completely different client experience for them to experience than if you're there like looking at the clock, oh, I can't wait to go home. When's the food coming out? Oh, I hope the speeches end soon. It's different for them. Like, your couples will have the feedback and going, thank you so much for being part of our day. You completely changed the day for us, because you show it. A couple is going to notice if you don't want to be there.
Oh,
you know?
100%, yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Let's talk about backlog.
Woo!
Editing piles up fast and is overwhelming.
That's why we use brideandgroom.video, a wedding editing company that delivers stunning wedding films faster without compromising on quality.
If you're looking for an editor that's going to match your unique style so it feels like you've made them, you've found them.
Use code TWVP75 at checkout to get £75 off your first order and try out their service.
Clear your backlog and grow your business. Try brideandgroom.video today.
Hasta la vista, backlog. Yeah.
So how have the first 4 weeks gone?
It's been crazy. It's been, at first it was scary at first. I think especially for me, because I was going to the dark side and doing photography, it definitely was quite nerve-wracking. But in all honesty, it has been just an absolute relief.
Yeah.
An absolute relief to go, you know what, I can just show up as myself now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were lacking so much relatability with who we thought we were trying to serve, and we just didn't know how to show up. Whereas now it's like, okay, I can actually just show what I love doing.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I did this shoot and I loved it. Want to see?
Yeah.
Must be
And if
so
anything,
like
we're
energized.
already making a new network.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say you just must be like the two of you must be so like energized now, like just with it all.
Yeah, because you'll have so much that you want to share. So that you're like, I want to put this online. I want to like you get
It's
excited about it.
The start over again, almost. You know, like see that feeling when you have when you first start, and you've got this passion and this energy, and you can, you know. I mean, I think back to when I first started. I'm like, how did you actually manage to do as much as you've done? But that's just because you're so driven, you're so focused. You know, there is no procrastination, like none. And you're like you said, you're on that mission. You're moving things forward constantly, and you're excited about it. And that passion then spills over into the quality of work that you put out. And you know, it's this flywheel almost. So your flywheel is starting. All over
And
again.
I would say as well, like once you have that clarity of what your mission is and what you're driving towards and what you're wanting to, you know, give your clients, it's then an amazing moment to kind of look in the mirror and really get honest with yourself about where you are. Because I think, like you said before, like some people's drives is money. So I just want to make more money. And I think for me, it's like, if it works for you, then great, but you need more specifics than that. Like how much more money and what is that money giving you? Because at the end of the day, you don't really want more money. That money is providing you something. It's solving a problem for you. So it could be that money is giving me more time. That money is giving me more freedom. That money is giving me more joy. I can go on more holidays. You know, it means I can pay my bills without worrying, which that means is you're getting relief. You're going to be getting peace of mind. So you're not realistically doing it for the money. You're doing it for the feeling and the problem that money is going to solve. So I think if you can really gain clarity on the feeling you're chasing and the exact thing you're actually chasing, you can then look in the mirror and go, okay, am I actually on track here? You know, am I on mission? Am I off mission? You know, and how can I put myself back on track and start letting things go? Like, what can I be cutting out of my life? What do I need to start doing that I haven't been doing? And that was the biggest change for us. The rebrand was the result of asking ourselves that question: is what do we need to let go of? And what do we need to change?
Yeah.
What do we need to start doing more of? And what do we, you know, even letting go of limiting beliefs like, well, I can't be a photographer if I've been doing this for 5 years as a filmmaker. Of course you can. You're a grown-ass woman. You can do whatever you want. You're an adult. Like, who cares? You can do what you want if it makes you happy. We couldn't possibly just say we do elopements when we've just done a big wedding. Of course you can. You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. I think it's, I don't know, for us, it's really helped to stay on course, get focused, and also take massive action. Like, it lights a fire up your ass. And you're just like, let's go. Like, let's just make some big steps here and just let's wipe our name and let's just have a new one. And it's it's lit a fire in us in a way where we're making big steps and making big jumps, and it's scary and exciting and there's risk. Like I said, what's the bigger risk? Staying where you are and never changing, or giving it a go and finding out?
Totally. So you've got your new mission now. What?
So like I said, start getting honest with yourself. I've already quoted him once. I'm going to quote him again. Matthew McConaughey. He says, admit it. Admit it. Look in the mirror, admit it. Where are you lying to yourself? Where are you telling yourself, oh, well, I couldn't possibly do that? You know, like what you said before, like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could make that change. I think just start really looking at yourself and going, hey, where are my limiting beliefs coming up?
Yeah.
Where's my glass ceiling? What am I pretending is in my way when it really doesn't have to be? And start making some big changes. And as I said before, like, what can I be letting go of? What can I be shedding at this point? And I think as well, I think we'll probably get into this in a second, but start leveraging this new mission that you have into your marketing and into your business. So, you know, if you've got this focus and you've got this drive now and you've got this excitement for your clients, you need to start leveraging this. Like, yeah, it's great to have a fire up your ass when you're at home, but how are you showing up online? You know, how are you showing up on your website? And how are you showing up on calls as well? And how are you showing up with your clients? Like, start leveraging this mission.
Yeah. So I guess, because if you're certainly in your position that you're in just now, whereby you have this fire up your arse, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling like hyper focused and hyper engaged in the business, that must make selling easier, because that will come through on your sales calls, or your client calls that you have. Like that will 100%. Spill through, like a spotlight is on the two of you, because like exactly. you're in this state of like fulfillment when it comes to your business. So like you must be going into like these calls now with couples and just being so on the ball and able to close them out a lot easier now because you believe in what you're selling. Am I right?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly that. I think, if you're listening to this and you're feeling icky on calls, you're feeling icky about your marketing, and especially I hear a lot about, scarcity marketing and scarcity tactics. I mean, if that works for you, that's absolutely fine. But if that's not really your thing, saying, I've got like 3 other people that want this date, you're going to have to tell me in 48 hours. If you feel
we all know it's lies.
Whenever you see it online.
I think, if that's feeling icky for you and you just don't know what you're saying, you don't know how you're showing, especially in stories as well. If you're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing on Instagram. I think having that mission, like have it written down, have it on your wall, and remind yourself of it, because realistically that mission becomes your USP. It becomes your unique selling point. Yeah. So you can push that. You can put in, this isn't just for couples. This is for planners as well and photographers. If you're getting on calls, like, I don't know what your experience is, but when you work with planners, a lot of the time when you get on your first consultation call, the planner's there as well. So you're not just selling to that couple. That planner is there weighing you up potentially for the first time and going, are they going to be a good fit for my client? And are they going to be a good fit for the 10 other clients that I've got coming up in the year? You need to be selling to them. You don't just want to be going, oh, your wedding sounds amazing. Yeah, would love to shoot it. You need to be really pushing what your mission is, because it's what makes you different and it's what makes you stand out. And I think in terms of, if you're struggling with knowing, well, how do I find my mission? Like how do I know what it is? I would say like I kind of categorize them as like pain missions and pleasure missions. Sounds really bad now that I said it out loud. But decide which one is more suited to you. So for example, like if you have like a pain point mission, it might be something like you've had someone in your life pass away and you really wish that you had filmed them more and had the audio more, and you want to be able to put that forward on the call of just, you really need to have a video because, I see, this is why this isn't my mission, because I would be like, remember, your grandma might die, okay? So you need to make sure you have a video. It's not my bag at all, but it's such an important point to make. So if this is something you're really good at selling because you're saying it from the heart, then it works. Yeah. For me, my dad passed away. My sisters didn't have a videographer. And they regret so much not having a videographer and not having my dad's speech recorded. So when I started in the industry, I used to bring that up, but I used to get myself really upset on the call. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. This really isn't my thing. So then that's why you've also got like your pleasure point marketing as well, of being able to really sit deep into places of when you've really had, you know, an amazing time, a pleasurable time within the industry, within your own wedding. People who go, I got married, now I want to do this for other people. You know, don't be that person. It's like, I do weddings because I just love love. It's like, oh, come on. There's
Live,
there's
laugh, love.
something deeper there. There has to be something deeper there. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to stand out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which is so important as well in this current climate. Like, you know, that things like this helping you to stand out are like so paramount. More paramount than it has probably ever been up until this point, because there is, you know, post COVID, there has been so many people, I guess, you know, like me, I was after COVID, and you set up your business after.
It was before COVID,
Just
but
before.
Afterglow became Afterglow after COVID.
Yeah, so like, and there's been this influx of people into the market. We've got content creators, you know, taking a little piece of the pie and stuff like that as well. You know, like, there's all these things. So like, having something that you can shout about, that you stand out, that you stand for, is, you know, will do you a world of good when it comes to making you memorable when they're speaking to 5 other different videographers, you know?
Yeah, but it's not the easiest thing to do. Like, it might sound easy on the surface to just go, all right, find out what's important to you, because a lot of people might just go, I don't know, I do like going to weddings. I don't necessarily, I don't know why. I like the job. It's a good job to have. But, you know, I think that there are ways to sort of identify what makes you you, and they can be related to weddings, you know? Like, is there any sort of like solid bit of practical advice that you can give to someone right now that would just, you know, help them along that way of figuring out what it is that actually matters to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I like to use the word buzz. So what makes you buzz doing this job? So I would look at the lead up towards the wedding, the marketing, the calls, the wedding day itself, the editing process, and the delivery. What parts of this are making you have that buzzing feeling? So, for example, when you get your feedback from your couple, so you sent the film off and you get the emails back, what are they saying? Are they saying, oh my gosh, you just had us laughing all the way through that video? That was absolutely hilarious. I loved it when you put in my aunt falling down the stairs. That was the most hilarious thing ever. And, you know, and the dog did a poo in the middle of the field and you kept it in. Thank you. This is so fantastic. And if you're reading that email and you're like getting a buzz out of it, like, hell yeah, I made him laugh. This is great. That's it. That's the thing you love. That's your mission. I would also say, again, if your feedback is, oh, you had me crying all the way through, and then I showed my mom, and then my mom was in tears. And if you're getting a buzz off that, going, my storytelling had them go on a journey that had them relive their day so much that they were crying. Boom, that's your thing. That's your mission. It's storytelling. It's being able to take your couples through a journey and get that emotion out. And for example, for me, my buzz on a wedding day is actually not in the before and after, but on the wedding day itself. It's when I'm working with them one-on-one during portraits, and, you know, they're so like robotic and wooden. They're going, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Do I look fat? Do I do this? And they're so awkward at the beginning. And then there's this moment where you realize you've cracked them, and they just like melt into each other, and their shoulders go down. They stop thinking about the camera being there, and they're just looking into each other's eyes, and then it's like, have a kiss, and then they start really kissing. You're like, whoa, like we're still here. But that's when I'm like, I've got them. I've finally got them to be their authentic selves on camera. I'm not getting anything fake here. I'm not getting anything posed here. I'm just getting the two of them on camera, and that's the stuff that's going to make them cry when they watch the film. And that's my buzz. And I often say on the day, right, I'm happy, I could go home. And I say it as soon as I have that shot. I'm like, I'm happy, I could go home. I don't even need any more. That's it. And if I say that on a wedding day, I've had a good day. So really reflect back on what it is that's giving you that buzzy moment, because it's going to be different for every single videographer. And I know a lot of people love the parties. You know, I love it when I'm on the dance floor and the bride's like pointing at the camera and like, I don't know, doing shots. Whatever it is that makes you buzz, that's going to be that can be a starting point for your mission if you're struggling to go, okay, well, let's use that as a USP. Let's make sure I'm bringing that on marketing. Let's make sure I'm talking about that in stories. And then also show those moments on your grid. So if you want the intimacy, show intimacy moments. If you love people taking shots, find every shot that you've got of your brides getting drunk and put it on your grid, and make sure you're driving the right clients to your calls so that then you can hit them with that USP when you're on it. And you're talking from the heart. You're not making this stuff up. Everything's authentic. Yeah. So they'll feel it, you'll feel it. And if they're the right client, they'll book.
Yeah.
And if they're going, oh, I don't like shots, it's like, next.
That's the thing, because it's not just about like sharing like teasers and stuff or highlights on your grid.
Moments.
Like moments, compilations. Yeah. Like here's my like something I've wanted to do for ages. Like here's the top 5 best dancers of the week. Like just Which,
it actually is. It's a topic that I was actually going to suggest to you for a future podcast, which we might. We'll come back. We'll stay tuned. Stay tuned for that one.
A segue.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's you. I mean, you're totally right. It goes back to it's like show what you want to shoot, and that is they're the type of clients, people that you will then attract, and ultimately you will be more fulfilled. I mean, it's like it goes back to we've spoken to people in the past and they're like, I hate shooting at this venue or whatever, and then you go into Instagram and they've posted another film at that venue, and it's like, if you hate the venue, don't show that you go to the venue. Like, kill it with fire.
People love posting, like they don't love posting stuff, but they feel that they need to post stuff, not just for the couple, but because they need to be present on social media, and like they've got this teaser ready to go, they just put it out to the world. But there's implications to that. Yeah. If it's seen by anyone that doesn't like that venue or loves that venue,
the only asterisk I would put on that is if you're just starting out and you need content out there, Well,
you need to find out who you are.
Yeah, exactly. But like if you've not long started and you need something to show that you actually shoot weddings, that's the only caveat to that. But once you're a little bit, longer in the journey, definitely you show what you want to shoot.
As much as to be said on that, like when you are starting out, you might know what you want to do already. I think as soon as you've discovered what your mission is, that's when you have to be intentional about the decisions you make about marketing your business. So if you've discovered that your mission is, being alone with a couple on a mountain, like doing that, you don't want to be showing manor houses.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's different. I just mean like if you're like right at the beginning.
Of course, yeah, but you need to find your mission first. So explore options, find out what gets that buzz, and then that will help you find what your mission is meant to be, and then everything should be intentional after that going forward, because that's the starting point. It starts with the content you put out, and then the brand kind of gets designed around it, and then your messaging online and then your consultation calls. It all ties into whatever your mission is. So I think it's really valuable to kind of, if you're feeling a little bit lost right now, and maybe it's very easy right now in this time of the year when there's a bit of overwhelm when it comes to backlog. You start questioning, why have I got myself into this mess? Am I doing the right thing? It might be a time to take some time and look inward and think, am I doing what it is I want to be doing? And if not, then make a move to change that mission.
Mission not accepted. New mission.
Yeah. And also, say to yourself, okay, you're in a backlog right now. How do you feel? Is it like, I can handle this. The films were good this year. Then great. But if you're looking at your backlog and you're like, I can't face these weddings, like these couples just, I don't know what to do with it. You need to ask yourself, do you want to be in the same position this time next year? Because that's the risk you're taking, to be in exactly the same place with the same panic as you are next year. Now is the time to start taking action on making sure you're not in that position again next year, and that you're editing films you're excited about. And I would also argue, if you are just starting out, you can still use that buzz technique with previous work that you've done before. Even if you were in like an office environment or anything, what is it that makes you buzz when you are with other people? Do you make them laugh? Do you make them feel? Before I was in weddings, I worked for like this charity. We did this big short film with like a load of actors down in Cardiff. And I got my buzz from, I had to work, it was actually, this is a bit random that I brought this up, but we had to work with actors that were representing boys that were from like domestic abuse situations. So we hired these actors in, and I had to kind of work with them one-on-one. And these were, 8-year-old actors. And I had to talk them through how I wanted them to kind of bring themselves out on camera. And I went through basically like a technique with them to get them to feel comfortable in front of the camera because they were so nervous. Once I'd had this moment with them, they completely changed on camera. They were completely different people. They were in it. They were primed. They were just in the zone. And I remember I had a closed set, didn't I? Because Jack was there with me on the day. I had a closed set with them. I basically got them to scream, and we just screamed and screamed and screamed together until they just got all of it out and they got all of the nervousness out. And then once I knew that they were there, I would go, everyone come back on set immediately. And we just came in and we did the take. Yeah. For me, it was like, I got them in that authentic place. I got them in that place where they were comfortable. There's my buzz. And it's the exact same buzz that I get from a wedding. So don't feel worried that you don't know how you feel on a wedding day because maybe you've never done one, or maybe you've not done that many. It's not about what you're good at on a wedding day. It's about what you're good at creatively and who you are as a person, and bring that in as your mission, as your USP.
Solid.
Love it. Well, Shannon, that has been very, very inspirational. Motivational. Yeah. And yeah, it's just I think our listeners will probably be like, let's get to the end of this and go, right, fuck.
It's a good time of year for it.
What's my mission? But you're right, it is a good time of year for it because you've had the summer madness, you know the weddings that you've shot. So, you know, if you're looking at this and going, yeah, I don't want a repeat of that next year, then, you know, it's time to change something up, you know?
Yeah, I think it's, I've definitely got, I mean, as you know, we started this episode by going, hey, Jason's back, but there has been a few weeks there where I was like, oh
no,
my God.
No, you're not coming, no, you're not leaving me, right? I've just got you back.
I'm here, I'm present, right?
Okay,
but
good.
I don't know if I found my mission or not, but I definitely found a way to work around it. But again, it was, you know, I get myself in a kind of a challenging situation. Maybe there's ways to change it, but I've definitely done a lot of reflecting over the last month. And I have asked, like, I've been talking to ChatGPT and stuff about, okay.
His new shrink.
Honestly, so good. They know me like the back of my hand. It's great. And it is about like, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I serving the right people and things? So I have asked a lot of these questions, and I'm maybe I'm on the journey to finding whether or not the mission that I'm on is the right one. But I'm looking forward to kind of figuring out what that could be if it is something different. So this is a good time for this conversation to happen. Yeah, and I know a lot of people out there are probably questioning the decisions they've made this year to get them to where they are now, and maybe it's something they want to be doing different next year.
But as we all know, self-reflection is great. Like I think it's something that we all don't do enough of. But like taking that time out to go, okay, like how has that year been? You know, was it successful in terms of what I deem successful? Do I want a repeat of it? You know, are the films I'm making, am I enjoying them? Are they good? Could they be better? You know, all those types of questions are really questions that you should ask yourself regularly so that you can continue to grow.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us, Shannon. It's been so good, and has given everybody so much to think about. So
thank you though. Thanks for letting me have the space to talk about it, because it does it fills my cup to talk about it. To be honest,
you can tell.
Side mission.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for your DMs to be glowing up with people, right? Okay, I need some help here on the mission. Yeah. So,
hey, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
On that, how do people get in touch with you if they want to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, so if you want to talk to me directly, I'm on Instagram at Shannon Lynskey, and then our wedding and elopement videography and photography company is at the Lynskeys.
Amazing. We'll have everything in the show notes below for you to have a look. But
also, don't worry, because Shannon will also be attending that Wedding Videographer Summit on March 31st, 2026.
Not only attending, but we'll be speaking on stage, and we are so excited to have the both of you. It's just going to be, it's going to be so good. I cannot wait. Before you go, though, we have got one question that we always like to ask our guests.
Okay.
What is one of your biggest balls up at a wedding? It's just to humanise people a wee bit more, you know, because...
No, I'm perfect.
Okay.
I've never made a
Okay,
mistake
well,
in my life.
that's all we've got time for this week, folks. See you next week.
Okay. In all honesty, I think this is the one that made me like shit a brick. Like the moment when you go, oh my God. And you know, you just lose the blood out of your face. So it was the first year that we were shooting weddings, and I was still trying to figure out the limitations of my camera. And I was filming the ceremony, and in between the two of them doing their vows, this was in a church, in between them doing the vows, I wasn't happy with the lens I was using. I was like, I'm too wide. I can't see what's going on here. And so I took my lens off and put a new lens on. And then about 2-3 minutes later, after the groom had done his vows, I realized that the camera wasn't recording it. It stopped recording when I took the lens off. And I was just like, no.
Oh,
but
no.
Thankfully, I had a second camera with Jack behind it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was because it was so early on in my career, it ruined the whole day for me. I was like, I'm awful at this job. I can't believe I've done this. But yeah, that was my big thing of like, when you take the lens off, your camera stops.
See, it's funny though, isn't it? Because like, see, like right back when you first start, you're so hard on yourself when you make those kinds of mistakes. Like, and it totally, if you let it, it will affect the rest of the day. And the rest of the day ends up being a shit show because of it, because your head is not back in the game. But it's funny, like, as time goes on, because you realise that, you know, something generally will happen. Not everything's going to go right at every wedding, you know. There will be something that happens. You drop the ball somehow. But it's amazing how, like, the longer in the tooth you get, you're like, well, next, let's move on.
It's amazing if you make an epic film that has so many different moments, they don't go looking for individual things. They just feel collectively happy over the film you've made. But it's so interesting because I think even up to this day, I'm still making last minute decisions at key moments, and I'm going, I should change this up. Like a couple of weeks ago, the couple were about to come back down the aisle. It wasn't a key moment, but they were about to come back down the aisle after they'd been married, and I realized I was in 25 frames. And you know what? Actually, I quite fancy this in 50 in case they throw their hands up, get some clapping and stuff. So I just stopped recording, changed the setting to that, and realized obviously my ISO was far too high, so try to change that. And they started coming down, and I'm like, I've missed it. Why didn't I just take it in 25 frames? Why didn't I just accept what I had in that moment? But you live and learn. You know, this happens to us all. Yeah,
I mean, one thing for me, I would say, is that I do now fuck about more than I used to, and it's all thanks to the Lawsons. Is like during the speeches and saying, like, I will just, if I'm not happy with an angle, I feel like I'm now like Pete, and I'm just like, nope, that needs to move,
Yeah.
and I move it about a lot more now. But I do feel like it's worth it because I'm getting better stuff for it. I'm not stopping recording. I'm not pressing a button. I'm not changing a lens. So the thing's still rolling. It's just like sometimes it can be a little bit annoying when you're editing though, because then you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, Danny, just stop moving the camera. But yeah, but it's good, and it's, you know, it's all about growth, isn't it? And you learn from these things. So yeah, but
absolutely, it's a live event, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all human, and it's a live event. Like you can't get everything.
No,
I tell myself that every time. It's like we can't get people to do things again, unless you're lucky and you have like a priest or a celebrant that gets them to do a second kiss, which I'm loving. That needs to keep happening.
It's handy. It's handy sometimes.
You know, it's so easy to be hard on yourself, especially when you're starting out. But it's a live event, guys. And also, what your couples don't know doesn't hurt them.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Which is why you should never give out your raws.
Yeah. There you go. Good tip. Well, Shannon, thank you so much again for coming on. We've absolutely loved chatting to you. And yeah, we cannot wait to see you at the summit on stage in March. But before then, we will be getting you and Jack back on to do a summit special pod. They will be starting up very, very soon, folks. So I'm really looking forward to those ones.
2 episodes a week again.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Woo! We will not be going anywhere. We will be in your ears constantly. But yeah, until then though, that is all that we've got time for this week. That has been That Wedding Videographer podcast. I've been Danny.
I've been Jace.
I've been Shannon.
See you next week.